Alright, these are some of my favorite projects. I really like these projects, only because the results could potentially be super cool, depending on what you guys sort of pick up and run with. They're called collages because both of them involve some kind of, or some form or process of collage. And they're the last projects for the hybridity unit. Let's take a look at them. Your first project choice here is a drawing with a collage in it. Now, you're going to take a photo of something. It can be anything. It can be color, it could be black and white, and you only get one item to collage in there. If you want to collage more than one, talk to me about it, but I'd like you to start at least with one element that is collage, and you'll cut that out and paste it into your paper, and then around that image that you've collaged, you'll be able to draw, paint, do essentially whatever you want to continue that subject outwards. So like if you pick a picture of somebody's face, you would draw and collage outward from that. Maybe draw them on top of a monster's body or something like that. It doesn't really matter what you do. You want to react to that image. If you're having trouble picking images or finding something, just ask me. I'll give you some ideas, but you can essentially use anything you find. If you want, I can help you on Photoshop and help you sort of like isolate parts of an image. And then how you render your subject in your drawing is totally up to you. You can make it abstract, you can make it representational, you can use patterns or non-graphic elements, things that don't even look objective. Doesn't matter. Just play around with it. Take a look at some of these examples though, because a lot of these artists here are using either technology or the collage in sort of a very liberal sense, and they're really playing around with it. Again, the set of directions, real simple. Take a photo, cut it out, paste it, and draw and paint around it. Now, if you're going to be purely abstract, that's fine, but really play with that. Get as complex as you can. This first artist example, is an excellent sort of way of thinking about I wouldn't even deign to pretend to understand how to pronounce her name, but Nikki here is a great example of what to do. She's often using photos of models, and then what she does around them is just absolutely fantastic. All these little patterns and sort of like just colors all react to kind of the clothing they're wearing, or like the pose they're holding. So great example of what you could do with sort of non-graphic elements or patterns, colors. Again, take a look at some of these examples. They're all valid solutions of what you could do, and just sort of get some ideas of what you could do for this project. I'd just like to clarify real quick, Eric Yahnker here could potentially be considered an example for the second project. These actually don't include any collage in them. These are actually drawings, and Yahnker actually has a great sense of humor, as you can tell. These images are extremely disturbing, but yeah, soak them in and take a look at these last couple examples, because they really sort of play with collage and the idea of collage a lot. Your second choice is simply titled Graphite Drawing of a Collage, and that's essentially what it is. You'll make a collage and you'll draw it. Some of the examples in the previous project were actually examples of this project, but I chose to include them over there just to give you a sense of what you could do. Essentially, you can make your collage any size, but try to make it rather large so that you can see the details. And you can include as many images as you want. Have at least 2 images that you collage together, and then try to keep them school appropriate. Don't collage anything inappropriate. When you transfer the imagery to the paper, you can use any method you want. You can use a grid, you can project it, you can trace it, doesn't matter. Sometimes tracing won't work though. I would recommend not using it, because if you do cut out your images from a magazine, they will have two sides to them, and you won't be able to really tell what the images are. When you make your drawing, it should be on a 9 by 12 sheet of paper or larger, and occupy at least 3/4 of the page. Make your drawing as representational as possible. Remember, you're drawing an actual photograph, so it should be photographically real, or at least get as close to that as you can. The whole point here is when you do draw the collage that you sort of synthesize those two objects in a way that you couldn't potentially do with any other method. Now, I know Photoshop has the ability to combine objects, but essentially you're doing the Photoshop process by hand, and it's a valuable skill. Combining two objects, again, is another way to be creative or original. If you think about mythology, a lot of your monsters are just combinations of other monsters or other animals, like griffins, an eagle, and a lion. Pretty basic combination, makes an absolutely fantastic creature when you think about it in your head. This is along the same lines. Take two objects that you really think would go together, make a collage of them, and then draw that collage. Here's the example of the process. This artist took a little hose and a tank and drew them combined together. Now, the way they unified it was the way by which they used the medium. So they used like pointillism to kind of combine them, and pointillism again is like little tiny dots. So when they drew it, that sort of style of mark making sort of combined the two subjects. You can do that to combine your two drawings. Like if you render both of them with kind of a scribbly sort of hatch mark style, that may make them look more unified than if you drew them with two different styles or two different colors or something like that. Think about clever tricks like that to combine your images. And then take a look at some of these artist examples here. These are all fabulous artist examples of this process, and there's some really cool artwork in here. Try to be thinking of what images you would combine. Again, the minimum is 2 images at least. You can combine more images if you want, and you can use any resources you want too. Like you can use a magazine, or you can go online and print out pictures. Doesn't really matter.